industry has come a long way since the days of Pong. Nowadays, technology has advanced to the point where gaming is immersive, interactive, and incredibly realistic. This video will examine the evolution of game controllers from its humble beginnings to the sophisticated tech we use today. We will look at how the gaming experience has evolved and how the game controller has changed to keep up with the rapidly advancing gaming industry. Let's explore the fascinating history of the game controller and see how it has shaped the way we play video games today. To never miss on our new content, subscribe to our channel and press the bell icon. The early years, Atari 2600. The early years of video game controllers marked the beginning of a revolution in the gaming industry. One of the most iconic controllers of this era was the Atari 2600 joystick, first released in 1977. With its single joystick and one button, the Atari 2600 joystick became the standard for home gaming consoles. It also set the stage for more complex controllers to come. A fun fact about the Atari 2600 controller is that its design was inspired by the popular arcade game Pong. This makes it one of the earliest retro controllers ever created. Although it may seem basic by today's standards, the Atari 2600 joystick was revolutionary for its time and allowed gamers to experience something completely new. The 8-bit era, NES, Sega Genesis, and other iconic controllers. The 8-bit era of video gaming was a time of immense growth and innovation, both in terms of the games that were being developed and the controllers used to play them. The first home gaming console, the Magnavox Odyssey, had only 2 knobs that could be used to control the game, while subsequent models had more complex designs. However, it wasn't until the mid-1980s when iconic controllers like the NES and Sega Genesis hit the market that we saw a true revolution in controller design. These retro controllers were revolutionary for their time, as they allowed for much more nuanced gameplay than ever before. The D-pad on the NES, for instance, provided a much smoother experience for players when navigating through menus and controlling characters on screen. Similarly, the Sega Genesis featured 2 extra buttons that allowed for a range of actions from jumping to shooting. It was these 2 consoles that set the standard for all future gaming controllers. The 32/64-bit era, PlayStation, Nintendo 64, and beyond. The 32/64-bit era saw the dawn of a new generation of gaming controllers. With the introduction of the PlayStation and Nintendo 64, we witnessed a massive leap in console gaming technology. The PlayStation controller was an incredibly innovative device. It was the first to introduce dual analog sticks, which allowed for smooth control of character movement and camera angles in 3D games. The 4 face buttons on the front were easy to identify and offered lots of versatility for different game genres. The shoulder buttons enabled developers to offer more complex commands for their games. The Nintendo 64 controller had a unique layout with an analog stick in the middle and 3 other face buttons surrounding it. This controller also featured 2 trigger buttons on the back, allowing players to easily access a wider range of inputs. The N64 controller remains one of the most iconic pieces of gaming hardware to this day. Both the PlayStation and N64 controllers revolutionized gaming. They provided precise control schemes that were never before seen in the industry. Many of the popular video game franchises today still use these control schemes, showing just how much impact the 32/64-bit era had on gaming history. The modern era, PlayStation 5, Xbox One, and the future of gaming. With the introduction of new technology, gaming controllers have also evolved to keep up with the ever-evolving gaming experience. The modern era of gaming is dominated by the PlayStation 5 and Xbox One controllers, offering players a much more comfortable and immersive gaming experience than ever before. The PlayStation 5 controller features an advanced haptic feedback system that makes it feel like you are really interacting with the game. The adaptive triggers and rumble technology give a much more realistic response when you pull the trigger or press a button. The improved ergonomics of the PS5 controller make it easier to hold and play for extended periods of time. The Xbox One controller also boasts enhanced technology with its force feedback motors, which make the controller vibrate in response to on-screen action. The new trigger design makes it easier to press the buttons, and the redesigned D-pad allows for precise control. The improved thumbsticks provide greater precision while playing games. The modern game controller is more immersive than ever before. From the advanced haptics of the PlayStation 5 to the precise control of the Xbox One, the modern era of gaming promises even greater levels of realism.